What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Fight Network's Downtown Studios. I am John Ramdeen, alongside my good pal, Crew Alin Hamilton, representing House of Champions. We're talking all about kickboxing, one of my favorite things in the entire world. And 2016, a crazy year for kickboxing. Very, very strange, ups and downs. We're going to start off with one of the things I think that the kickboxing community, the mainstream masses, they were very excited about this Glory Collision, the company's first pay-per-view. And of course, when you think about kickboxing in the past, you think of the heavyweights, you think of the Ernesto Hus, and you think of Peter Arts, and you think of Sammy Schild, and you think there's so many names when you think of the world of heavyweight kickboxing. And we're seeing that next generation. I think we all anticipated when we saw how talented and how big Rico Verhoeven was, that eventually when all those old guys, they eventually left the game, that Rico Verhoeven would be at the top of the game. But we also understood that Badr, one of the most exciting heavyweights, I think, in my opinion, in the history of the game, just because of his attitude and kill or be killed. So I was very excited when Glory put this heavyweight tilt together. What was did you expect that this fight would materialize?
Well, you know what? Like you said, for the kickboxing, it was a celebration. I mean, Badr Hari is the guy that people tune in for.
Yeah.
You know, if boxing had Mike Tyson as their bad boy,
yeah.
If MMA has John Jones, the most talented but still a bad boy, kickboxing has Badr Hari, and he's been the bad boy of kickboxing for a long time. But he's also been the biggest attraction in the world for kickboxing since the early days of K1, when they first discovered him. When Tom Herrings bring him from Chakuriki to Japan, the guy was very young, but right away the world embraced him and follow him because he was as crazy in the ring as outside the ring. And his techniques are clean.
Yeah.
He's a heavy hitter, and he can produce a knockout at any time. And it was the biggest fight in kickboxing for 2016, and I think it was the biggest fight in kickboxing for in some years now, because as you said it, the world want to watch the big guys fight. The heavyweight division, everybody want to see the big guys. There's a spectacle all the time. Rico has been dominating the division for the last couple of years. He's the most fit kickboxer, I think, in a heavyweight division ever. Mm-hmm. His work ethic, his coach Dennis, those guys, their pedigrees and where they come from and how they grow them up to be this.
Why isn't he a bigger star? When you look at, he has the formula. You just laid it out. His technique is clean. He looks the part. He's been around for a long time. But why is it when Rico Verhoeven steps inside of the ring, the world isn't, oh my God, we got to watch this guy fight?
Well, he has a lot of fans. I like to see I'm a sportsman, and I like to see sportsmanship, and that's why I'm a fan of Rico Verhoeven.
Yeah, of course.
And I like to see because he has the perfect diet, and you can see it on his physical shape.
Yeah.
And the training he does, the kickboxing with Dennis, it's the
intelligent,
the highest level. Yeah. He knows how to score points, he knows how to win. He's the fittest guy. If the fight goes past second round, third round, he will win. He'll grind you. And I'm a fan. But it seems to like in a world of fighting, it seems like people like the villain.
Yeah.
Right. The sport of fighting, the fans are a bit rougher than other sports, to be honest with you, and they like the bad boy, and that's why I think Badr is gonna have the biggest fan base in the world in kickboxing, and he's the biggest attraction. I was so excited to see these two guys fight. The good guy and the bad guy. And I was excited not just because of the good guy and the bad guy. I was excited because of the skill. I mean, Badr Hari with Mike's gym, this guy, man, his technique is impeccable. Awesome. He has knockout power. And he had like 98 KOs from all his fights. I mean, 98 guys, like
That's
it's crazy.
Bonkers, I know.
You know what I mean? And then you have Rico, that's the technician, the grinder that can take the fight to the later rounds and make your life hell. But he also has knockout power, because we see his fight with Benjamin. He has a lot of power in his punches, and his technique is clean. So definitely the biggest fight of the year for kickboxing.
And when Badr came out, because you're just always unsure, it's like, okay, has he decided, you know what, kickboxing is in my past. I'm just, made some money, just going to enjoy life, do all the appearances and do the things that I'm going to do, and I'll make a little bit of money on the side. But he came in shape. He was jacked up and ready to go. And I think if the fans saw this version of Badr Hari, I mean, you already have a strong fan base, but I believe that his fan base can be opened up to an even larger audience because of what we saw. Now, granted, he didn't win the fight because Rico Verhoeven's good. He understands what to do. He destroyed Badr Hari's arm, but that's the best thing about kickboxing is the history is it's not just 1 or 2 fights. It could be 3, 4 fights. It could be a history of 2 fighters, and I think that's the appeal, that you can have this kind of rivalry going on for the next number of years.
Yeah, you're right about that. The kickboxing, it's a rough sport, rougher than MMA because you have the takedowns and you spread out the techniques to the all. And boxing, it's mostly attacks to the head. But in Thai boxing, we do kick the body, we do kick the arms, you kick the legs, and you have a lot more chances to get hurt. Unfortunately, the way the fight started, it looked like it's going to be a classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, the accident happened, and it was, unfortunate for the fans.
Yeah.
And because it would be nice to see them going toe-to-toe for 5 rounds. The way they started, they both look so clean, nice power, and it was great, man. I hope that Badr Hari can, heal his injury and come back and try to make the fight again. It will be great. I mean, again,
I would expect that you would. If you're Glory, that's your responsibility. Right now you're trying to make the biggest fights possible, and isn't this the biggest fight possible? Because the way the fight ended, it's like everybody was confused because Badr just kind of walked away. It's like, okay, what's just happening? Why is this fight stopped? And then he's injured. There's room to make this fight again. I think people want to see, as you pointed out, everybody wants to see this fight unfold for as long. Everybody's looking for, let's just see if we can get this fight into the last round or close to the last round, and then it'll be exciting for everybody. But these are the things that happen in kickboxing and fighting.
Yes, it was impressive to see because I thought that Rico is gonna try to play more angles with him and let him miss more. But Rico was there toe to toe with him, so that's why I think this fight, if they can make it happen again, if Badr can heal and come back in shape the way he was for this fight, I think it's the fight that the fans would love to see again.
I agree 100%. Also on the Glory Collision card, the Welterweight Championship was up for grabs. The champion at the time, Nicky Holtzkin, I think a huge favorite going into this fight, taking on Cedric Doumbé. And this youngster, 24 years of age, if you haven't seen this fight, do yourself a favor and do this fight because this kid was not afraid of Nicky Holtzkin, who just kept moving forward. And the kid was just volume, just landing combinations. And then he started showboating against Nicky Holtzkin, doing spinning techniques against this guy. In my opinion, he built himself into a star, somebody to watch you become the champion by beating Nicky Holtzkin. But on top of that, you're doing stuff for the fans, and you're going to build your fan base when you do those things.
Definitely. The French kickboxing was always up there. One of the big powers in the sport, and Doumbé just showing that they still have some young guys that can be world champion material. It's great for the sport. I think that we have a French kickboxing champion now. Unfortunately for Nicky, he's been dominating the division for years now. And way before Glory, he was the king of that division.
Yeah.
And
did he let the fight, do you believe, slip through his fingers? Because I never got the sense. There was a couple of times Doumbé landed a lead uppercut and caught Holtzkin, but I never got the sense that Nicky Holtzkin was hurt and out of that fight. That he kind of just allowed the numbers of Doumbé to win this fight.
Yeah, well, Nicky Holtzkin is a knockout fighter. Yeah. He's going to hunt for the knockout. And when you do that, you kind of neglect the point. Right? He's a fighter that wants to finish the fight. He wants to knock you out. And that's why those guys are so exciting to watch, because he's not there to score points. He wants to finish the fight. And I think that was detrimental for him in this fight.
Doumbé, he wins the championship. But again, we were talking about Rico Verhoeven and Badr Hari and how people want to see that. I would imagine that the fans want to see this rematch, considering Nicky Holtzkin and what he means to the kickboxing community. And he was a champion who beat Ray Daniels and had his fights with Joe Valtellini. You would imagine they would make this fight again.
Yeah, hopefully, great fight to rematch, but they also they have the new blood, and you want to see how Congolo and how Gronhard is going to match up with him. I would like to see that too. And, but I think if they can make the rematch again, it'll be a great fight.
One thing I do know is that that was, I believe, Nicky Holtzkin's last fight on his Glory contract. And we know the kickboxing world kind of opening up right now. Everybody, I think the casual fans, the mainstream fans, look at Glory as the number one promotion. But Bellator has their hand in the game as well, and there's Kunlun in China as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for big-name fighters to go anywhere in the world.
Yeah, there is the talk, and they already squared off to fight Artur Klitschenko in Kunlun. So,
Yeah, cool.
So that's going to be a fight that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Artur Klitschenko, he's another technician, he's another powerhouse, and him versus Holtzkin, that'll be a fan favorite fight to watch.
And that's what I look at, especially when I see some of the guys that came from the K1 Max days and that era. To me, it doesn't matter if you're fighting for a title or not. Just their specific styles and their aggression, and you can think in your head what type of fight you're going to see. And is that what we're looking at when we look at the world of kickboxing? Are these guys going to stay loyal, or are they just going to move around from place to place, trying to find the best fights for the most money?
Well, the world of kickboxing, unfortunately, the economics are not there like in MMA and boxing. Unfortunately, because it's very exciting.
Yeah, no,
if Glory would have the economics to keep all these guys exclusively, you can have those fights. But the Kunlun in China, it's been doing a great job with putting big fights. And if they can do Holtzkin and Klitschenko, from what I understand, in 2017, that's a fight I'm gonna tune in and I'm gonna watch, definitely. They had some big fights already there. They still have Buakaw under contract, and they're gonna put some exciting fights to watch. They're the number one organization in Asia and probably the number 2 in the world now. With they don't have as much exposure as Glory being on UFC Fight Pass, having the ESPN deal and stuff. But Kunlun is putting good fights there and high quality, high level, and it'd be nice to see what they're gonna do next year.
And this is how I normally get the bar of things. A lot of my kickboxing friends from that community, they'll tell me about certain organizations, and Kunlun is one that's everybody's been talking about. Oh, this is the best promotion. This is the best. They have the best fights. They look at the rising talent. This is one that you need to watch out for. And this card coming up on January 1st. We're in China. David Kiria, Superbon Banchamek, Cedric Manhoff, and I don't even know this guy. Chiwanata. You know him?
Chuvatana, yeah, he's one of the guys from Long Sangram, an old champion from Thailand's gym, Chuvatna, and Jomtong is one of the guys that a lot of fights. But the dark horse, not the dark horse, the guy you have to keep your eye on this tournament is Superbon, because he just beat Sitichai in Kunlun.
Oh, yeah.
And Sitichai is the glory champ.
Yeah.
So you know what to expect. The Thai people that I'm talking to, they say that Superbon is the next big thing. He trains with Buakaw as well, and he's kind of bred to be the next big thing from Thailand. And Cedric Manhoff, we had the pleasure to call. Man,
Great
this guy, great Thai boxer from Suriname, trains in Holland, but his technique, his power, the way he fights, he's one of the best at 155 in the world. This tournament, it's crazy, man. People don't know much about it because it's not very
it's not mainstream.
In the Western world, but if you're a real fan, hardcore fan of kickboxing, you don't want to miss this card on
January 1st. Buakaw taking on one of your students?
Yeah, Tien Sien. He's fighting Buakaw. I trained Tien Sien when I was in China, and we discovered him in one of the northern provinces in Jilin province in Changsha, in Changchun. So I met him. And then I trained him for 3 fights, and he just beat Andrei Kulebin, which is a big.
We called his fights in K1, right?
Yes, we did. Andrei Kulebin, it's another top A-class fighter that's been fighting at a high level for a long time. Belarusian guy, and trains with Evgeny Kofelnikov from one of my friends in Belarus, and Tian Xian won against him last time, and now he's having the chance to fight the king of Muay Thai. Buakaw. It's going to be a great fight. And I think Tian is going to do good. Tian Xian is going to do good because he got power in his hands. He's very strong. And, I think he's going to give Buakaw a run for his money in this fight.
I want to ask you a question culturally. You've had the chance to go over to China and train some of the locals in the art of Muay Thai. This is a culture that comes from fighting. They come from martial arts.
Yeah.
How are they taking to the science of eight limbs?
Well, to be honest with you, Tian Xian, when I met him and when he come to my training camp and we did a selection there, he is one of the guys I picked. He comes from Sanda Sonshu, which is their traditional fighting sport, traditional kickboxing. I call it Chinese kickboxing.
Kung Lee was a champion, Sanshou champion, right?
Yeah, he was a Sanshou champion. The Chinese kickboxing, it's a bit different because takedowns are allowed and they shoot for the leg. So if you kick, they can take you down and they score points that way. They have the amateur version, which is in a ring with no ropes, and if you push your opponent out, you score points and you get credit for it. If you do it 3 times, you win the fight.
Right.
And then they have the professional Sanda when they fight in the ring. And, because of that, because of the takedowns and your hands are coming down a little bit, watching for the, to catch the leg and to sweep the opponent, they changed. And there was a period of transition for them. I was there in the beginning of that period of transition of Chinese fighters coming from Sanda and learning to fight in the under K1 rules.
Yeah.
And where they cannot grab and they cannot clinch and they cannot, sweeps and takedowns are not allowed. So they have a few years to adapt to those rules, but they adapt very well because we have Fan Bian that won against Simon Marcus. It was a big win. Then they had Wang Ziwei, and they have the young generation of Chinese fighters now. They can fight with the big stars like Buakaw.
Awesome. Which
is great. Joji Pang fought a lot of the greats. He fought Buakaw and he beat Albert Kraus. So they adapt to the new style, and it's a huge pool. They have 1.6 billion people.
That's amazing.
And they all love martial arts, and they all love they love the fighting sport. And kickboxing catch up a lot in China in the last 5 years.
And that's why I'm not surprised that Kunlun is doing so well in China. I mean, because essentially they don't have to leave China. Some of these second-tier cities have 10 million people in it, and if you have, just a handful of fight fans, kickboxing fans, they're going to go to these shows without question, especially when you have names like Buakaw on the card.
Of course. And one more thing that people have to understand about China. When I live in China, I watch martial arts, all kinds of martial arts, every night on TV. I don't love just the fighting. I love any martial art. I love the culture. And you watch Shaolin movies and you watch Kung Fu movies every night. And so it's deep in the roots, in the culture, and they love it. So when they see the real thing, they're gonna embrace it. And I think that's where we are today with the Chinese kickboxing. They really embrace the sport. They have a lot of fights. The country's big. There's a lot of population, a lot of customers that want a lot of fans that want to tune in and watch the kickboxing fights. Same for MMA, and I think it's a good market. And Kunlun is doing a great job. Also, Wulin Feng is the second organization there. They have big fights as well. So it's a good time for kickboxing in China right now.
You were mentioning Simon Marcus in China. Of course, the former Glory middleweight champion lost his title to Jason Wilness, who, in my opinion, is one of the breakout fighters of the year. Because you look at, as we were talking about before, a win over Philip Verlinden, a win over Joe Schilling, and then he beat Simon Marcus for the title. If you're trying to make yourself a star and make yourself known to the kickboxing world, that's a pretty good run.
Well, he had a great 2016. But the thing is, I think that with Glory, with the tournaments, right? He had great fights in all the tournaments, but if you get injured or you have a hard first fight, it's hard for you to do great in the second, third fight. And he was a guy to keep your eyes on. Like in 2015, you would know that this guy is strong. He throws power. He reacts well it goes offensively, goes forward. He waits for the big shot. He's a great fighter to watch, right? And he's great. He had the good wins against Schilling and that with Verlinden, and then the fight with Simon.
It was weird.
Unfortunately for us, because we're Canadians, and I'm a big fan of Simon Marcus, but he come out strong, and he does good in one fight a night situations, which now being the champ, I think he's going to hold on that title in 2017.
Interesting. Simon Marcus, one of the things I love about what's happening right now is this, for years, I don't think that Canada was a part of the conversation. And then all of a sudden, Canada's a part of this conversation, serious conversation. We have, of course, Simon Marcus, the former champion, Joe Valtellini, former champion. You've been around kickboxing greats for a long time. You've been instrumental in helping to develop champions. One of the guys that we saw, another breakout star in 2016, Matt Embree, who looked sensational in his fights, now has the chance to take on Robin van Roosmalen.
Yes, of course. You forgot to talk about my boy Gabriel Vargas.
Oh, of course,
he had the title twice.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys that lost his title and come back.
Exciting as hell.
But of course, not taking nothing away from Matt. Matt, you know what? He fought that tournament, and he had two great fights, 2 finishes, and now he has the chance. I think he's the next guy in line to fight the Robin. Robin coming down from the 55. This guy is a mini Mike Tyson, He stays in the pocket. If you fight his game, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
If you can stay away and give him different angles and different looks in the ring, you can give him a problem, because he's always going to be the shorter, stockier fighter. Yeah. But if you stay toe-to-toe with him, I don't think you can match his power. He's been around for a long time, and he's fighting at the highest level. This guy never fought, like, every fight he's been in the last, 10 fights, or it's probably a title fight.
Yeah, of course.
So he fought Sitichai twice. He fought, Andy Risti. He fought all the good guys, and the guy, it's, at the pinnacle of his career, I think. And, unfortunately, for Gabriel, lost his title to him. But I think that Matt has a chance, because if he fights his fight, if he can keep him out of his range and score points and wait to land his big shots, definitely we can have a new Canadian champion in glory. Canadian kickboxing, we always talk about it, but people, forget that kickboxing is being big in Canada. Even our population is very small compared to other countries. Tyrell, the Iceman.
Oh, yeah, Jean-Yves Thériault, of course,
yeah. Jean-Yves Thériault was one of the pioneers in kickboxing, full contact kickboxing above the waist. And he was a world champion, legitimate, that fought Don Wilson and fought Dennis Alessi and fought all the big guys
Rufus,
at the time. Rick Rufus, right? And then we had, in early K1 days, we had Michael McDonald,
of course,
the Black Sniper.
Yeah.
This guy, man, he was, up there with Andy Hugh, training with those guys. Best North American kickboxer in a heavyweight division ever.
So exciting.
And he won most of the tournaments when Scott Coker started promoting K1 in Las Vegas. Michael McDonald won most of those tournaments, because his level was way above the North American level at the time. And he TKO Mirko Krokop. So kickboxing in Canada, it's not a new thing.
Right.
Then we have the period of after Michael McDonald, we have Gary Goodridge.
Yeah.
Gary Goodridge was a K1 original, and he also won the tournament
championship
in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's right.
When K1 had the Rumble on the Rock there with the K1 tournament, he won that tournament, and then we have.
But it felt. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it feels like during those times it was just one individual. It happened to be a Canadian in Michael McDonald. Then a few years later, it happened to be a Canadian in Gary Goodridge. Where right now it's like, wow, the talent across the board in Canada is just. It seems to be at the highest level where you're seeing, okay, this isn't just an anomaly. It's not just one. The level is good everywhere now.
Yeah, competition, and good coaching, and we have a lot of good gyms in Canada. And last Glory, we have Jessica Glenstone from Calgary, from Trevor Smandich's gym.
Yeah.
She fought in a tournament. She did great against Tiffany. But so we have a lot of talent in Canada, no doubt. The competition in the last year was good. So when you have good competition, you're gonna grow these stars, and. We always had a guy there, I mean, even Shane Campbell, when he was competing in his times in North America, he won every fight against every North American, and then the generation of Gabriel Varga being the champion in glory, and Joseph Valtellini. And I think that the sport keeps growing in Canada, and we're going to have better and better fighters. Matt is fighting for the title now. And, Canadian kickboxing, it's been at high levels, no doubt, and all through the whole country, from Vancouver to Calgary and Edmonton,
Awesome.
Winnipeg. We have Giuseppe De Natale in Winnipeg. That was an original guy. He won a K1 tournament as well. And then you get to Ontario, where we have a lot of gyms and a lot of good coaching. Montreal, it's always had the high kickboxing full contact rates. And then the sport spreads on the East Coast now too. There is good gyms in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, and so the Thai boxing and kickboxing. We have a good place in Canada for it.
Very, very exciting stuff. And one of the things we're talking about, you're mentioning Gabriel and his talent. What does he take away from a fight with like that with Robin? Obviously, you want to leave with some more knowledge that you didn't have.
Well, this Thai boxing and the fighting sport, it's almost, I find a lot of things that I learn in the ring about my wins and losses that I find in day-by-day life, There is always, you're going to have hard moments, you're going to have hard times, and you have to overcome them by being smart, by being better, by being stronger. And that's how the fighting life, the fighter's life is. In life, if you give up, you finished, right? Your life goes down. And it's same in the ring. It's not hard. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's a big mountain you try to climb, and you deal with, not with just with your body, you deal with your the fighting sport has the highest, it gives you the highest things in, and when you lose the lowest places. So it's same, if you can overcome all this, you can be on top again, and it'll be great to see him coming and winning the glory title.
Yeah, he seems so mentally strong. Any of the times that I've had a chance to talk to him, he seems very, very grounded. He seems like a guy that is looking for ways to better himself, and that he would use this as an important experience to try to mentally achieve the things that he needs to achieve.
Well, I tell you one thing. I love him, obviously, because he's one of my students, and I'm one of his coaches for many years. But he is a true martial artist. And then at the end of the day, we talk about the fighting sport, and we talk a lot about the competition. But what martial arts do for us, for me, I was just a kid that come, from Romania, and kickboxing changed my life huge, and make me the person I am today. And I think that's what Gabriel Varga is, a true martial artist. And he embraces not just the competition part of it, the discipline that comes with martial arts in his day-by-day life. So I know that if he puts his head at anything, he can achieve it. So, and he's a smart guy too, so, it's a good role model for his community there in Victoria, BC. And if he wants to come back and get the title, I'm sure he can do it. Also, if he wants to just be an instructor and teach martial arts and inspire other kids to live his life, clean life, good nutrition, hard exercise, being healthy and being strong, he can do that as well.
It was a very exciting 2016. We are looking forward to a very interesting 2017. One of the things I'm anticipating, the return of Gokhan Saki. And of course, we're going to keep our eyes on the Glory Organization, Bellator, and Kunlun happening in China. He's my main man, Lynn Hamilton. I'm John Ramdeen. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you in 2017.